As we know, Marvel Rivals has taken the world by storm. A lot of its success coming from its highly addictive gameplay loop and its very unique designs for characters. But the one element of Marvel Rivals that has really caught my attention is the team-up abilities. These may have impacted the quality of your games, or perhaps determined what character you actually played, but not a single professional coach has talked about how it impacts our decisions when it comes to the professional game. And if you're someone that has similar sort of thoughts, I guess it's time for you to look no further, because I'm Coach Cuffy, a professional Overwatch coach, and as of this recording, my current EU team is sitting at top 16 in the Marvel Rivals tournament. So without further ado, this is why I believe Resurrects will always be meta in Marvel Rivals. I want you as the watcher to think about what Marvel Rivals team-ups you find strong. Perhaps you said Magic Psylocke, or maybe you said Groot Jeff. There is no judgment here, but depending on the rank of the person that you ask, they will come up with a completely different answer. As I mentioned before, I am very heavily involved in the Marvel Rivals pro scene, and the one team-up that is taking the world by storm right now is Iron Man, Strange, Hulk for the damage and health boosts that they provide. Now, whether you agree or disagree with this, that's beside the point, but it is undeniable that in these top 500 lobbies, this is what is getting played and this is what is getting banned. You can see this through the invitational tournaments, the tournament tabs in-game. This is common knowledge, it's public information, I'm not arguing about this. On top of this, the second most commonly run team-up ability in professional play is the Adam Res. For those of you that don't know, Adam has a team-up ability where if his Mantis or his Star-Lord die, they will be resurrected back into the fight. But with those two things in mind, I now want you to think about the difference between these two team-up abilities. As in, go ahead. I genuinely want you to think about this because I guarantee you're not going to get at what I'm thinking. And if for whatever reason your first guess was micro impact versus macro impact, hit me up, we need to get in contact because I need more minds like you. And if you're on the complete opposite side of the spectrum where you don't even know what that means, don't worry, I'll explain it. Micro means small, right? So when you hear of a coach using this word micro, you know that we're talking about the impact of an individual. A micro coach might say to a Hela player, you stand here because there's high ground and you can see down the lane. This will put you at an advantage into an enemy Hela who's on the ground and has no cover. Whereas macro largely revolves around team play and synergy, but in some ways is a combination or an effect of multiple micro interactions. A macro coach would take that exact same scenario and say, Hela, you take this high ground on this lane, and once that happens, I want our Iron Man to get in the fight. A macro coach would understand and not even necessarily have to say that if our Hela is on a high ground and contesting the enemy Hela, that gives our Iron Man the space to actually do stuff without being shot by the enemy team. But before this gets too technical, I'm gonna have to drag everything back. Let's apply these titles to the two team-ups that we are currently talking about. The Hulk Iron Man team-up, in my head, is largely a micro team-up. Every now and then, Iron Man deals more damage. This impacts him more than anyone else in the fight. And if we wanted to view it in a macro way, we would have to do some overly complex visualization. Like every single time he has the damage boost, his team can go in, which means the enemy team has to go out. But on the other hand, this Adam Warlock team up is largely a macro team up. Yes, as an individual, you get another self-res, but this touches upon something that I've created called Res Theory that explains the specific reason as to why Resurrects are so strong in hero shooting. Thinking back to how I just described macro as a series of micro events, it is no secret that every interaction in hero shooters have cooldowns being used and health going down. A very easy visual representation of this is a typical video game stamina bar. As a fight progresses, the more things that are used, the stamina bar goes down. Now what happens if all of a sudden, someone takes an energy drink? The total overall stamina of that team suddenly increases. That's exactly what a res does. It doesn't matter if that in-game res spawns the people back with all of their cooldowns, or even if it just adds to the total team health again. Presuming that both stamina bars are going down at the exact same rate, that team is at a major advantage. And it's not until you put it this way that you realize these Resurrects barely impact individual, but are a major win condition for team versus team play. Because there's so many Resurrects, it's a form of attrition. The best form of attrition. And because the rivals cooldowns can be as long as the likes of ones in a MOBA. Being able to play or forming a comp that excels in a long-lasting fight is even more impactful than it would be in a game like Overwatch. Coffee? You haven't quite explained why you think that this ability is better than the Iron Man one. Thank you, voice in your head. Once again, it comes down to scaling. You can nerf the damage of an Iron Man teammate, and you can attempt to nerf the Resurrect numbers, but you can't nerf the concept of a Resurrect itself. Especially when you think about how many reses are already existing in the game, it's highly unlikely that they're going to rework all of them. But some reses in the game are definitely better than others. How exactly would we determine this? Well, we can do it by weighing up things like the cost, the risk, the value, and even the frequency. I know I just threw a whole bunch of mathematical terms at you, but yet again, let me explain. Rocket Raccoon's res is a good res because you can choose the location that it takes place. On top of this, the people spawn back with maximum health, unlike the Adam Warlock ultimate where people spawn back with 100 HP. Having said this, Adam Warlock's ultimate is a good res because it spawns multiple people, meaning that team stamina bar is gonna go back to full. But a rocket cooldown or an Adam ult is never going to determine the meta. As we already established, the team ups do. Adamantis Star-Lord is extremely strong because all three characters are very, very good. But there is another res team up that is extremely strong right up there next to them. Hela, Thor, Loki. And for those of you that don't know how this team up works, if a Thor or a Loki end up dying in a fight, Hela has the opportunity to secure a kill, and what this will do is resurrect her teammates. Now, it's not just the people that she damages, she does have to get the final hit on the target. And don't worry, it gets worse. There's no cooldown on this. If Hela keeps getting kills, her teammates will keep getting res. Now, this would be extremely overpowered if there wasn't indicators on the map that tells people on the enemy team that people can res in these locations. As in, the Loki and the Thor will spawn back exactly where they died. And chances are, if they died there in the fight in the first place, it's still gonna be a dangerous location midway through the fight. I do think that the main reasons why this team up isn't utilized as much as the Adam one is the fact that Loki, Thor, and Hela don't have that much synergy together. And on top of this, Hela is just an extremely strong, highly banned character. So I just feel like not a lot of people know about it. So why wouldn't you just go with the ever consistent, never banned Adam Warlock that could mass res his team and get 3 Resurrects, as well as having the synergy to heal his flyer, heal his support, soul link Star-Lord, let your Star-Lord and your Mantis choose where they want to be res, if they even want to be res, without it impacting their respawn timer either. Or screw it, it's a brand new game. Why don't you just roll out on Thor, Star-Lord, Hela, Loki, Adam, Mantis? Wait, that was unscripted. Did I just do something? Don't show Nightmare this video because I don't want to have to deal with that in my ranked games. But anyways, back to the script. As we know that the Marvel Rivals devs have heavily hinted at the fact that passives and team-ups could change as seasons go on. So whether the team-ups, whether the passives that come into play are scalable, if another couple of characters come with another couple of reses, or if pro teams start utilizing the reses in the way that they should be used. The ultimate counter to teams that look to take fights quickly. Just know that good old Coach Cuffy warned you, because we could be living in a society right now where fights are lasting a minute and a half, where everyone feels drained of their resources but is still forced to head back into that fight. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did manage to get to the end, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. No, I'm only like 3 videos into doing this style, but I really seem to be enjoying it, and it seems like you guys are too. So if that is you, hit the bell. That's the fastest way to get my content.